Today on the Dream Big series, we have Sarah Mack. Sarah Mack is a writer and a mindset coach who supports creative entrepreneurs to transition to the passion work that makes them happy. She works with artists, coaches, and healers who are ready for more money, freedom, and fun in life and business. She does this through mindset coaching and intuitive business strategy. Originally from the UK, Sarah is now based in New York. She's also a song lyricist and performer. Sarah Mack discusses pushing past limitations, how to learn to trust your intuition. She talks about committing to a creative practice as well as doubling your income and healing from health issues. This is Chad Borkwin, and this is the Dream Big series. I am a professional musician and recording artist that has been fortunate enough to learn how to get paid doing what I love. But this didn't just happen for me. In fact, I have years of doing things other than music that have all played a part of the success I get to experience now. But more importantly, I've learned the value of having the right people speak into my life and how that is the key to breaking free of old limiting habits. So if you're tired of being stuck and you believe there is more for you in life, the good news is everything I've done is a result of what I've learned, and it can be taught. Join us as we bring topics and guests onto this show to provide you with valuable insights on how to get to your big dream. This is the Dream Big series. Welcome to the show. All right, welcome to the Dream Big series podcast with Sarah Mack. She is a mindset expert and has so many things to talk about regarding mindset, which is a big deal when you're an artist. You know, in fact, it is the first chapter in our book, Play Music, Make More, hits on the power of what it means to have the right mindset. So I am so excited to have you on this and really dive into this. We just kind of, in a book, we just kind of gloss over, some basics, but yet I was on your website and you go into the details of what it means to do that, and you help people through this. Can you share a little bit, first of all, how did you even get into this work?
Sure. Yeah, I'm so excited to be talking about this topic with you today because it's completely changed my life. And the way I got into it was I had a massive burnout. So I was working in film crews for 8 years, and it just, I was like driving trucks, lifting furniture. It was fun. It was a whole adventure in itself, but it just wasn't really creatively fulfilling for me. And my body just like ground to a halt and was like, no, this is not the direction that you're supposed to be going in. There's something else for you, like shut down, abort. So I pretty much ground to a halt. And it was in, that time that I really had to turn inwards and just start asking questions like, why is this, why have I got to this point? What beliefs do I hold about myself? What's going on with my body? What's going on with my emotions? What's going on with, my inner narrative that has, was like pushing me in a direction that I didn't really want to go in, or that wasn't really listening to, like my true desires for my life. And, I was really ill. I had chronic fatigue for 5 years. I, had severe depression. I can't tell which came first, but I think the cool thing about going through a depressive episode is my like understanding of it is it's the body's way of just shutting down and being like, no, you don't have the energy to do anything else until you sit down and you look inside and you listen and you sort out what's going on internally. So that's what I did. And, I started working with a lot of coaches, and that led me to mindset work. And once I started to really change my inner narrative and use, very strategically new thoughts and belief systems and, new focuses, I started to get my energy back. I, started to heal. I completely recovered, and my life went in a completely new direction, which was way more fulfilling, way more fun, earning way more money, having way more freedom and creative fulfillment, than I'd ever experienced before. So that's why I'm really passionate about working with others on mindset, because you can have amazing strategies, you can be working really hard, but if there's a part of your internal narrative that is holding you back, you won't get where you want to go. And, conversely, if you hunt down and you see where those limiting beliefs are for you and you shift them, suddenly it becomes really easy to take action. You suddenly find the strategies that get you from A to B so much faster and with so much more ease and enjoyment. And so I really do believe that having the right mindset is the key to getting whatever you want.
Well, and I've been on your site, I've been all over it, and there's a lot of things you can help people with. You talked about the health issues on for yourself, but how, okay, so say I come to you and I've got this chronic whatever, the doctors say, it might be this, we don't, or sometimes they say they don't even know, right? You know,
Mm-hmm.
and what's the steps that we would start working through to, start fixing that?
Yeah, so I really believe that when you have physical, or emotional or mental health symptoms, it's the body in resistance and it's something that's out of alignment. And um, the first step is to really start listening to yourself and like really start being honest with yourself. And that was really, the path for me. And that's already what I work with all of my clients on, is just learning how to trust yourself, because I think we're raised, especially as artists, especially musicians, anybody who has a passion for, like a non-traditional career path, you've probably experienced a lot of discouragement throughout your life. A lot of, don't do that because, there's no, certainty that you'll be able to make a good income, like it's a risk, do something where there's more certainty that you'll be able to provide for yourself. So, obviously as kids, we listen to our parents, we listen to our teachers, and we absorb the thoughts and belief systems of the world around us because we just want to survive. And, a lot of the time it's easier to disagree with everybody than it is to disagree. So, throughout that process, really what we're doing is eroding our trust in ourselves and our own internal navigation system. And so it's a process to really start to give yourself the space to start listening to yourself before everybody else, because your desires are there for a reason. And, if you have a desire to play music, if you have a desire to be a touring artist, if you have a desire to do something completely unconventional, then it's there for a reason. And I think, we can all probably identify with how uncomfortable it is when you ignore that or when you deny it and you don't follow through on it. It just doesn't feel good. And it feels so amazing when you really give yourself permission to actually do the things that bring you joy and that feel right for you. So, developing a habit to actually listen to yourself, whether that's through daily meditation, through daily journaling, sometimes just through creating some space and some creative thinking time when you go for a walk, or, obviously working with a mentor or a coach, or just creating some type of space where you have the freedom to just see what's going on internally and to ask yourself, what are those repetitive thoughts and ideas that keep coming up for me? Because there's a value in that. And that's really, what self-trust is trusting your intuition, trusting your inner guidance above what everyone else is telling you. And sometimes it can be something completely random that seems completely unrelated, maybe to the path that you want to go down or the result that you want to create. But actually, maybe it's an impulse to study a particular type of movement or fitness or be in a certain type of community or social group or, I don't know, creative hobby that isn't going to directly be the thing that, creates the big goal or the big career change. But in following our impulses and giving ourselves time to explore and pursue our inner nudges, that it can create a shift, and it can, maybe be the creative activity that is the place where we get all of our cool ideas, or we recharge ourselves, or we connect with people that really influence us and expose us to new ideas, or we connect with our body in a way that brings us so much more freedom in our thought. So it's not logical and it doesn't make sense in like the linear way that we've been taught to think about. Take steps 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you get 6. And learning to trust your intuition. It really is that process of, just trying something out. If you're excited by the idea, following that excitement, taking action, and then being like, oh, that felt really good. And I gave that to myself, and really, celebrating that, and then trusting the process and seeing how, when you do follow those nudges, actually really amazing things can start to unfold for you.
Well, you hit on such an important thing here. We talk a lot about in our Dream Big series about the difference between a backup plan and a support plan, you
Mm.
know. And like we just interviewed Dan Weller just a few weeks ago from Florida Georgia Line, and he used this term called corridor of opportunity, which is what I think you're talking about here, right? Where you just start moving in a direction that it seems like the next logical step towards your goal. In other words, it's your support plan. It's not a plan that you've got out of fear of a backup plan. How how do you lead people through that from, once they start the process and realize, okay, I know I need to move that direction, and this all makes sense what Sarah's saying. What do I do now?
Yeah. So, and I think it's really important to recognize that, as a creative, you are a trailblazer, and what it is that you're about to create has never been created before. And, the career and the path that you're about to create has never been created before, because everything is changing all the time, right? Technology is changing, access to resources is changing, all the time. So, to really tap into your creativity, you get to innovate, you get to create whatever career path is most accessible to you right now in this moment, and trust as it unfolds, and just really be open to possibilities that maybe you could never ever plan for. So I think it's really important to have a vision and to trust, what is that big vision? Like, what is one kind of like outcome or end goal that feels really exciting to me, that I know would make me really happy, and, fulfills my needs and desires, and to really stay true to that vision and stay engaged with that vision and stay connected to that vision on a daily basis. But you don't have to plan all of the steps on the way there. All you need to
Yeah.
focus on is one next action step. And if you wake up every day connect to your vision, and just ask yourself, what is one action step that I feel is moving me in that direction that I can take today? And that's all you do. And then once you've taken that action step, you then ask yourself, what is the next action step? Because you can't possibly plan step C from plan A, because after you take step B, like, you could be a completely different person. You could have a completely different skill set, and step C will look completely different from step B than it did from step A. So, I think the ego and our fear really leads us to overcomplicate things and like want to plan everything in advance and have certainty and security. But actually, really learning to trust yourself, really learning to just be in creative flow and trust that magical things can happen when you simply take one step forward and just keep doing that day after day. And that can build a lot of momentum, and over time can completely change your life.
Well, and I don't think we can ever factor in or visualize the people that'll start to attract, that actually help the whole process and even speed it up, right? I mean, how often
Totally.
have you seen that with your clients, where they start down a process, and then all of a sudden, what seems like out of the blue,
Yeah,
the help shows up.
totally. And yeah, exactly. That's, and I always try to remind myself and my clients of the 50% of life that's completely outside of your control. So, a lot of the time when I'm working with clients, just simply by getting them to a place of inner clarity, of acknowledging their desires, and by giving themselves permission to realize it, even though they don't know how, yeah, suddenly opportunities will just wash up seemingly out of nowhere, like perfect opportunities that really answer, exactly what they wanted. And, obviously because they've given themselves permission to own that desire and to really receive that opportunity, they're in a position to move forward and say yes. Whereas a lot of the time when we don't give ourselves permission, we either will brush past that opportunity, or we'll deny it, or we'll talk ourselves out of it, right?
Right.
The music industry is drastically changing, and for the better. The power to have a successful music career is in your hands and no longer up to a few gatekeepers. The key is having the right information, the right tools, and committing to do the work. I want to help you jumpstart your career with my free ebook called Play Music, Make More. This free ebook is everything we've done with our own group, as well as what I've learned being an entertainment agent, and it's all played into the success we've had as independent artists. Visit playmusicmakemore.com to get your free copy today.
Well, and on your website, there's some bold statements on there, and I love it. It's like double your income.
Yeah.
That's
that's a bold statement. I mean, how many people come to you say, hey, I need my income doubled. Who doesn't want it?
Right. And that's why I'm so passionate about money mindset, because
Mm-hmm.
it literally is like, what is the story that you're telling yourself, and what do you believe is possible, and what are you available for? And, as soon as I started shifting my internal beliefs, it just became a catalyst for me to, be open to new inspiration, for me to follow through on that inspiration, and, really be bold and try out some completely different ways of doing things. And that's led me to double my income every year. And, and I see that the same with my clients. Just when they give themselves permission to earn more money, and they stay committed to that mindset, and they embody that, and they really step into, being courageous, taking action, and allowing themselves to be open to opportunity and to follow through on opportunity, their income just shoots through the roof as well. And so, there's a path of growing your income. Obviously, we can grow our income in so many different ways. And sometimes it's more important to just bring more money in, because obviously we need it to pay our bills. We need it to take care of our life. We need it to create more creative freedom, so that we're not worrying about money. So we have the bandwidth to be more creative and follow those passion projects. And so, you get to earn more money, and then you also get to address the how you're earning the money piece, and really build your mindset around being able to open up to bringing in money in the preferred ways that maybe you just never thought were possible, because everyone was like, you're going to be broke if you try and be a musician, or you can never earn money as an artist, or, whatever these kind of like socially rampant limiting beliefs are about being able to earn great money as a creative. And and then there's the one that addresses time as well, where you maybe think you have to work really hard to earn loads of money. And when you start to flip all of those beliefs, it's like programming your mind, like, I call it, like a GPS navigation system. And if you train your mind that it's possible for earning money to be easy, that it's possible for you to double your income, that it's possible for you to earn money doing stuff that you love, that's really fulfilling, your mind will start to look for, evidence of that. It will start to look for ideas. It will start to really alert you to opportunities to make that a reality. And then you take action, and then it happens. So yeah, it's a very powerful, yet actually pretty simple, approach to be able to create change. Is just change the story that you're telling yourself and that you're focusing on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, our daughter was a soccer player for a lot of high school, and she had a concussion at some point. We didn't even know what happened, but later on, we went to a chiropractor who did this specialized. It was basically he reconnected the neural pathways through these eye exercises.
Wow.
But what we learned there was he's like once you retrain these neural pathways once, you don't have to keep doing it. In a matter of weeks, he
Right.
took her from 30 to like 70% of where she was at just by retraining those. And I think that's what I'm hearing you're talking about. You're retraining the mind to think completely different,
Right.
where you won't ever go back, unless you
Right.
choose to, right?
Yeah. And I mean, it's definitely, I wish that you could just be like, I'm a millionaire today, and then, you didn't have to retrain it. But the truth is, I think it's something like 70% of our thoughts are on repeat from the day before. So, most of our thoughts don't even originally come from us, right? They come from our parents, they come from our teachers, they come from our friends, they come from whoever we've been hanging out with, for however many years we've been walking around on this earth. So it is a little bit like, steering a big ship in another direction. Like it's kind of, or, I think of it as a train track, like your train of thought, like imagine a train on a train track, it's gaining momentum, it's going really, really quickly. You want to move it onto a different train track, but you've got to kind of like slow down that momentum first. And and with repetition, it's really just repetition, and really being very conscious and aware of your inner narratives, and what kind of intention you're going into things with, and really just consistently re-choosing the different track until that old thought process is kind of like wound down and the new one has got more momentum. But yeah, once you get that momentum going and you really commit to that and that becomes a habit, then yeah, it does run by itself, and you suddenly notice that you're just not available for a lot of the, the struggles and the things that were just kind of normal for you before.
So in this work, how important is who we surround ourselves with when you're doing this? And this is hugely important because there is a lot of artists out there that they can potentially live in toxic environments. And if
Yeah,
they want to make a shift, then what do they do?
it's really important. And yeah, especially with creativity, especially when you're birthing a dream and a desire that's just come from you. I see it as like, it's like a little sprout, a little seed that you plant. And as it begins to grow, it's very fragile. Like somebody can come along and stomp on it, and it's going to take, you're going to have to like regrow that seed. So, it's important to protect it. It's important to protect it by surrounding yourself and your project with people who are only going to contribute like nutrients and water and sunlight and support that seed to grow. So if you ever find yourself talking about a project or a hope or a dream or desire with somebody who, down talks it or tells you that it's not possible or is skeptical about it or, denies that you're capable of doing it, just like stop the conversation, withdraw, do not ever talk about it with that person again. And, it just depends how fast you want to succeed, because if you want to succeed quickly, if you want it to be easy, if you want to, have a lot of momentum and have the confidence of being able to see your dreams realized as quickly as possible, make it as easy as possible. Surround yourself only with people who are going to contribute, only with people who are going to support you and celebrate you along the way, and, make it an easier and a more joyful experience. And, it takes a lot of strength to separate yourself from relationships that don't support you. Because, a lot of the time we're very habitual creatures. And if we've created relationships where our life and our habit is just to be in those relationships, yeah, it takes a lot of courage and it can be very uncomfortable to decide that you're going to let them go. And often there's a big lonely space when you let some of your relationships go, and it's okay to be uncomfortable with that. And that's a process, because as soon as you create space for something, as soon as you let go of something or minimize something that's not contributing to where you want to go, you're really opening up that space for new, more amazing things to come in that will be more in alignment with where you're going. And that does happen. But, it takes time. Sometimes it doesn't. But really, it's all about the conviction that you have to bring your desires to reality. Know that it does take courage. Know that, it does require change. And sometimes that change can be very uncomfortable and, really requires you to take a stand for yourself, because until you do that, nobody will. Right. So it's really about empowering yourself to trust in yourself, to believe in yourself, to be your own number one champion who like fully is, believing in and committed to your vision, because until you get to that place, and you can't enroll anybody else into that vision. Right. Mm-hmm. But as soon as you get to that place, then your energy becomes very magnetic, and suddenly opportunities are washing up on your doorstep. Suddenly everybody wants to help and support you. And that's where, the fun really gets going.
Yeah, for sure. One question that we absolutely love to ask, or I love to ask, is, what advice would you give to 16-year-old Sarah, to knowing what you know today?
That's a really great question. I would probably say, don't listen to anybody else and just do what you want. Do what feels good. And, yeah, pretty much that. Just listen to yourself, listen to your desires, do what's fun, do what's exciting to you, and don't listen to anyone else unless they support you.
Yeah, that's good. So how do people, what are all the ways that people can connect with you?
So I'm on many different social media channels. You can check out my website with sarahmac.com. Same on Instagram, same on YouTube. And I also have a Facebook community that's free to join, where I share trainings and inspiration that's called Big Creative Fun. So you can come and join in the fun over there as well if you feel like it.
Yeah, fantastic. And, we will have all of that in the show notes as well, so that people can get there easily. And this is going to be available on YouTube as well as all the podcast platforms. So be a lot of ways that people can affect their own mindset just by connecting with you and learning from you. So last question.
Okay.
And thank you so much for being on. How do you describe, or how do you define your inner rock star?
How do I define my inner rock star?
Yeah.
That's a good one. You know what? That is a really good one because I do that a lot for my clients. And I don't know if I have. What's one of the coaches that I work with called Liz Kimball. She's an amazing creative coach as well. She calls it your creative warrior goddess queen or something like that. Your inner creative warrior goddess queen,
Yes.
And it's just, tapping into, you know what? I think I call it my intuition. It's like that little voice inside of me that's just really creative, that loves to have fun and always has a really good idea and, is always right. That's kind of, that's how I connect to that.
Fantastic. Thanks, Sarah. Appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure. It was so fun to be here.
All right. That is Sarah Mack with the Dream Big series.
I really enjoyed this interview with Sarah Mack. I love it when she talked about being a creative trailblazer. Not what everyone else is doing, but what is the path for me that has never been done before. We ask that you please support Sarah Mack at all the links in the show notes, and we thank you again for listening to the Dream Big series. You've been listening to the Dream Big series. We would love to hear from you, so please leave us a comment on your favorite podcast platform. Don't forget to visit us at dreambigseries.com for more podcast videos and blogs. Also, let us know if you would like to bring the Dream Big series event to your school, corporation, or organization. Thank you for listening to the Dream Big series.